obstacles who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and damnations. May they experience happiness, be separate from suffering, and save love is to legend in the still ones of past, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. Oh, Mother Saint Jean beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstacles who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and damnations. May they experience happiness, be separate from suffering, and save love is to let them in the still ones of past, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. Dalla dan vare sipe da, no vare sipe ge, tarba dan tam je jen ba la barde ju bara seba tam je zor seb. Manang ka dan yambe sem je tam je dewa dan den, dongara dan char nyor de lana mep. Yanda bara zobe san jo rumbo je do bar sa. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and the mind. From now until this time, perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with the body, speech, and the mind. We take refuge in the Khandaru Lama and the lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deity of the mandalas or yadams. We take refuge in the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dhakas, the Dakinis, and the Dhamma gardens, the possessors of the eye of wisdom. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent. I take refuge after I attain enlightenment. By the merit of Janarastra and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all Mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering, the causes of suffering. May they never be suffered from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May the rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. I bow down respectfully with my body, speech, and faithful mind to all Tathangatas in the 10 directions. Those who have already reached the Tathangata state, those who are reaching it at the present, and those Tathangata state to come. Through the power of the Samantabhada's prayers, may all Buddhas manifest vividly in my mind. I prostrate to them, multiply in my body as many times as the atoms of the earth. In each atom, I visualize as many Buddhas as there are atoms, surrounded by the countless Bodhisattvas. Thus all space is filled with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. I praise all Buddhas through manifesting, chanting, expressing the great ocean of the excellent qualities. To all Buddhas, I make offerings of arrows, pure flowers, flower garlands of music, anointing oils, manifesting light and fragrant incense. I make offering to the fine garment and perform the bow barrel, highest moon metal, and orange the most beautiful way. I visualize the highest and most extensive offerings and offer them with great faith to all Buddhas. I prostrate to Buddhas and make offering to them following the deeds of great Bodhisattva Samantabhada. I confess to you, Buddhas, whatever negative actions I have committed due to the power of anger, desire, and ignorance. I rejoice in the merit of all Buddhas in the 10 directions of the great Bodhisattvas and the Pakshika Buddhas. Those who have attained Aharasha, those who have entered the path of Aharasha, and all other beings. I recourse to all great protectors and the Buddhas to turn the highest way of Dharma. As the light dispelling the darkness of beings in the 10 directions, leading them gradually to the enlightened states. I supplicate Buddhas intending passing to pure nirvana, to living long for as many eons as the atoms of the earth, in order to benefit all beings. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of enlightenment of all sentient beings, all these are dedicated. The ground is sprinkled with the sainted water and the stir of the flowers. It is adorned with the Meru, the Spirit Mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon. As Buddha fear, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness as a Buddha fears. To the lamas who possess the Tirikayas, I offer the altar and the sacred offerings. With my body, wealth, and all that is visible, please grant me supreme realization and enlightenment. Mother or Mary, I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying. For the sake of enlightenment of all sentient beings, all these are dedicated on Guru Rinam and Rala Bunzam and Gasaman Savarina Samaye Ahom. I call refuge, O Name of the world. Your fame provides the 3,000 words. You are the victor, Vajradhara with our dropped. I bow at the feet of Father Jigtin Sungong. Continue laughing with no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessings. Despair darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I can realize the unlimited nature of mind. Please turn the way of the Dharma of the two vehicles and the combination according to this position, the likewise the mental capacity of sentient beings. Manjushri. His wisdom is brilliant like the sun, free of clouds of two worlds, and perceive the various steps of knowledge in the true nature. For this reason, he holds the wisdom text at his heart. He has a compassion for all beings who suffer from the darkness of ignorance in the prison of samsara as a father for only son. Like a thunderclaps, he awakens those who are sleeping in ignorance and losing the charm of karma through the 60 branch of Haramane speech. He wears the wisdom sword to cast settling of suffering and to dispel darkness of confusion. And the Bodhisattva form, he is pure from beginningless time, fully accomplished in the 10 levels and perfect in the body of all knowledge. Supplicate human Jeshiri, adorned by the 112 son of Buddha, to dispel darkness of my ignorance. Om Arapasana de Arapasana de Arapasana de Arapasana de Arapasana. Om Arapasana de 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 Om Wangeshoram, Om Wangeshoram, Om Wangeshoram. Om Wangeshoram, Om Wangeshoram, Om Wangeshoram. You who are the perfect, youthful body, whose flame of wisdom blazes, and dispel the darkness of my ignorance, I posted before you and praise to Manjushiri. Yone Kule Changwa Yishi Rome Raptambar Jiktin Tomo Mensarwa Jampara Yangla Sansardo Tamke Uje Shaje Raisa Trong Yinja Mato Deja Pongjomba Serge Lembo Tavara Jipek Shakja Jarpe Shabla Kuzanze Dorjen Chanchin Tello Narotan Marpa Malai Chije Gamboba Pamo Treba Yarwa Digongbe Kaju Lama Nanla Zorwande Romain Chije Yenge Bobdangni Som Sanje Genje Ngowonye Ransem Chike Ngonsong Dongzebe Zave Lame Yala Guzanze. Okay, so today I'm going to share the visualization and the recitation of 6 syllable mantra of Avalokiteshvara and verses of attaining the mind. So first we're going to do this Chenrezig sadhana. The verses attaining the mind, the teaching is, we create love, compassion, bodhicitta. The practice love, compassion, bodhicitta. So we create compassion, transform this our ordinary mind. The ordinary mind, no spiritual love and compassion. So our ordinary mind is the same as the eyes. It's very tight. So no heat, love, and compassion in our mind. So that's why we have to create love, compassion. The Chenrezig is the embodiment of all the Buddha's love and compassion. So we practice Chenrezig and use the supports. Practice Chenrezig helps us, we can practice the 8 verses of mind training. So we go directly to the 8 verses of mind training. It's very hard, very difficult to practice, 8 verses of mind training. So who has the 8 verses of mind training practice? Chenrezig has. So Chenrezig is embodiment of 8 verses, 8 verses of mind training. So that's why we have to take refuge to Chenrezig and practice, meditate Chenrezig, chant the mantra. Then we use this, our supports, receiving blessing from Chenrezig, and then we can, this our ordinary mind, transforming spiritual mind. So spiritual mind is love, compassion. So long as love, compassion arise in our mind, then we are become precious human body. And this life has become meaningful. So this life has become our treasure life. So we didn't have that life in the previous lifetimes. Previous life, we take so many birth, so many, we have taken the birth in samsara. So that's all life is wasting, not that much benefits. It's not the precious. So that's why this life we're going to create a meaningful and a treasure life. So long as love, compassion arise in our mind, then this life has become treasure. So that's why we have to create love, compassion, use this sadhana practice. And then this Chenrezig sadhana is very profound, very, the meaning in this sadhana has. So that's why we're going to use this sadhana. In this sadhana has generation stage and Mahamudra, all these practices included together. So then this is practice. So we need to, of course, first refuge and also, create a bodhicitta. So that we have already in the opening prayers. So now we're going to directly to in this main practice sadhana. So this main practice sadhana, chanting before, I'm going to do the transmission first. Chenrezig yege tupe gonde, Chenrezig yege tupe gonde, Timi Chisaranyam Salawan Dube, Toma Chandro Simji Simi Nanjanam Sungji, Dabe Yangam Boda Layave, Rakapema Dabe Dindende Ranye Baba Chenrezig Yuko, Kasara Jaje Saja Shani Ba, Dambo Sani Tukar Damoja, Omani Jen Pekarna, Tardari Jindin Chitong Yo, Chewa Lama Oba Me Peji. For the Sanje Sansam Tindar de Neso Onga Hongo Zorje Yichi Lazo Jinran Yimite, to Pedin, or you get a tender Haji Tinwekowal, Rubanjo Dogan, Rubanjo, Jingan Jero, Talajan, Nova Taji to Jimbuko, Daratam J, get to Person, Tendotam Jetoni Hinji Top. Simi Shadan Yumangani, the Omane Peme, Omane Peme, Omane Peme, you get to Bada. Tela Tapa, you get Dima Kandun Davarsa Kapsa. Rangasam la semjeti, Nizome Banagada, Jayamanton Sangewa, or Tombani de Oman de Peme, Hong Shi, Tomba Santangani, Nawamanga Salewa, Rimikin Jam de Mase, Ranjin was an on Tarache, Oman de Peme, Hong Shi, Sargent on La Tongjin Sara Sardon Yemi, some Juta, Lenjin Yuma de Chin, the Nedun Chinrezig, Oman de Peme, Hong Shi, Tona Sana, Tarkiwan, Hojitashi Juverso. Then you know Menga Donji Tata Benzayan Yamlin the Mabambe Tipageo Mangalam. So now we're going to take this Chenrezig together. It's page 1. Everyone has a sadhana, right? Spanish, okay. So you have Spanish, English, everything, yeah? And the Zom Sangha, everyone has, right? Sadhana? Okay. In the center of a pure and of a potala, dwelling white your lotus and the moon disease. I perform of noble Avalokeshwara, white and raging, with one face, 4 arms, and 2 legs. My first 2 hands are joined at my heart, and the lower 2 hands are crystal rosary and a white lotus. I will slay the jiva ornament, and my seated legs are crossed. And the donate my crown is Lama Amitabha, Buddha of boundless legs. Around there are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas together like clouds. From the Om Ahom at my 3 centers stems out the rays of light, leaving the house of wisdom deity who dissolve it visibly. In the center of my heart on a lotus and moon seat is the celebration, surrounded by the mantra garland from it, like stream out, making offering to the noble ones and purifying the obscuration of our being. The whole Evaru may become the realm of Moon Potala. All that appears is the form of great compassionate one, or songs the speech of 6-syllable mantra, and all the thoughts of the wisdom mind of emptiness and the compassion, or the original nature beyond grasping and all providing I recite the mantra. Go back to Tibetan. Tai pe shen kam otra la ye ve rakar pe ma da ve din din de ranyin pa pai jen re se ji ko ka sa re shar je sa ye sham nye pa tam bo sa nye tu gar tam mo ja Om Ani Je Shen Ten Pe Kar Nam Tar Dan Ren Jin Jin Den Je Zhong Yu Jie Wo La Ma Wu Ba Me Be Jin De San Je San Sem Jin Tar De Ne Song Ong A Hong Ge Wu Zer Je Yi Xie La Zoi Jin Zhang Yin Mi Den Tu we be de din la ye ge re, den ta ren ha je ching we gor wa le, ong jin pang jun zhuo gen zhe ba yong, xian kan tam jie re wo da le xin, nan wa tam jie tu jie jin be ge, zha zha tam jie ye ge zhu gui song. Trên tô tam chế tu nhé nhìn chế tô Dinh mê chạp đá nhung mê ngang nê đá Om mani padme Om mani padme Hum Om mani padme Hum Om mani padme Hum Om mani padme Om mani padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Yeah, so now we go to the 8 verses of training the mind. So we chant once together. 8 verses of training the mind by the thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than as wish fulfilling giver. For complete the higher aim, I will always hold them dear. Whenever I am in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depths of my heart, cherish others as supreme. In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotion arise, I will confront them strongly and ever them, since they will hurt both me and others. Whenever I see air nature beings, or those overwhelmed by heavy misdeeds or suffering, I will cherish them as something rare, as though I am found a priceless treasure. Whenever someone out of envy does my wrong by attacking or belittling me, I will take defeat upon myself and giving the victory to others. Even in someone I have helped or in whom I place great hopes, misdeeds me every injustly, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher. In brief, directly, in orderly, I will offer help and happiness to my mothers and sincerely take upon myself all the hurt and the suffering. I will learn to keep all this practice untrained by thoughts of the worldly concern. May I recognize all things as like illusions, and without attachment gain freedom from bondage. So this verses training the mind is composed by Gebshi Langritangba, I think. So he's the very famous practitioner for bodhicitta. He has long histories. So most important story, his whole life only 3 times smiling. So Losley, I think he always sad, you know, but sad is not negative sad. It's compassion sad. So compassion sad is a positive feeling, no negative feeling. The positive feeling is very powerful. Remove your negative emotions. And positive actually bring the positive sadness, actually bring the true happiness. So that's why, you know, this who created this verses over this teacher, and people who see him, they think he's always sad, and that's why his whole life only 3 times smiling. There also has like some stories, but I don't remember exactly what they when he smiling 3 times, you know. So that's all is his compassion practice, compassion. So that's why he don't have depressions. You know, he has positive compassion. Like I told you, the positive feeling, compassion. Looks even he's sad, but is his true mind is happy and joy. So his expression look really sad for the samsaric beings because he has a very strong practice defect of samsara and bodhicitta. Each this practitioner has different qualities. You know, that's why you see practitioner, meditator are not always the same. They're always different. Some bodhicitta practitioners are always happy and joy. You never see sadness feel, you know, face. Some this kind of, you know, another case like another practitioner, bodhicitta practitioner, always look sad. But that sad is not negative sad, okay? That's why it's positive sad. Is actually they are really joy and happy inner level. They are, but there's seeing the samsara beings suffering. That's why it's compassionate sad. This teaching lineage is come from called Kadam tradition. So Kadam tradition is Bodhisattva lineage. In Tibet, we have wisdom lineage and method Bodhisattva lineage and Mahamudra or this blessing lineages. So then maybe you know, so like another teacher, very famous, George Pardin Atisha. So he, through his lineage is called Kadam lineage. Kadam means all the Buddha's teaching is bring into the Pitta instruction. You know, all the teaching is bring to the Pitta instruction, the practice. That's why called Kadam means. Dhamma, all the teachings is Pitta instruction. Use that and practice. Then Gambopa, the Kaju tradition, you know, bring all these 3 lineages together. Mahamudra lineage, blessing lineage, and wisdom, Nagarjuna tradition lineage, and then Atisha, this, you know, method, Bodhicitta lineage is bring together. He composed then teaching is called Yonomi liberation. So then Kaju means all these 3 lineages together is called Kaju tradition. Also, then followed by this lineage is Gelug tradition, Sacha tradition also come from this lineage. So then in this tradition has many bodhisattvas. So very famous bodhisattva practitioners come from. Then this Gejong Laratangpa, he is the most famous, the bodhisattva practitioner. So he has very strong renunciation samsara, and he has very strong practice defect of samsara and bodhicitta. That's why he's always said for samsaric beings. So he is actually free from suffering because through this bodhicitta practice. And you can see this, you know, verses of tending the mind. Then we know this teacher is bodhisattva, not the ordinary person. So he has this complete accomplishment practice. So who has this accomplishment practice, then that person is bodhisattva, not relative truth to bodhisattva, it's absolute truth to bodhisattva. So that person is who has this practice bodhisattva. Is that person is is a treasure and can benefit many other beings. So we use this teaching, and for the, this teaching is very popular. In this teaching, all these different lineages, teachers always use this teaching for sharing, for guide student, and they use this teaching as their own practice. Many practitioner teachers use this as the daily, life practice. They have mostly has memorized this one, and they always chant these prayers every single day and cultivate bodhicitta. So now we're going to do each verses one by one, and this has 8 verses. So first one, by thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling giver, for accomplish the highest aim, I will always hold them dear. So these bodhisattvas only thinking about other sentient beings. They care about other sentient beings, but thinking of all sentient beings. So long as you have that intention, thinking about other beings, so then the mind is called precious. So very hard to, arise this intention in our mind. They're not easy, because we are take birth in samsara many lifetimes already. All during these lifetimes, we always thinking about our own benefit. We do to ourselves grasping. So we don't think, put other beings first. So we don't have these intentions. That's why, call samsaric beings, ordinary being. And then who can put other beings first, then that person is called bodhisattva. So in this teacher, Langla Tangpa, he has the fully practiced this. But for our case, even you accepting this teaching, we wishing this kind of aspiration, also very powerful. Even we cannot, practice action, but you have this even wish in your mind, then we have connect with these bodhisattvas. So through our wishing, we become part of bodhisattvas under the, blessing in the mandala, under the protection. So sometimes we think, oh, this so hard, not possible to practice. That is, of course, not easy to practice this one. If easy to practice, then everyone has become bodhisattva. And this samsara is become perfect. Buddha don't have to say, defect of samsara. So must be Buddha said samsara is perfect. But Buddha, why didn't say samsara is perfect? Because this practice is not easy. Especially for ordinary people, not easy. So that's why, even you have this connection teaching and wishing, we have this aspiring, have this kind of intention arising in our mind. So that become connect with to in this bodhisattvas. We are part of become bodhisattvas under the protection. So without, aspiration, intention, then we cannot be part of the Bodhisattva Buddha's protection, under the protection. We cannot be under the, part of the Bodhisattva's citizen, mandala. So that's why, we don't need to have a, what to say, like, oh, I cannot do this. What is kind of a mind is not possible, right? You don't need to pressure yourself. So this, like, we have to recognize treasure, very powerful. And wishing one day can I have this or this, practice, accomplishment. So that kind of we need intention, one thing, have this precious. So then we thinking about all sentient beings, that is not easy to arise. So that's why we have to cultivate. Cultivation has many different levels. Meditate, every single beings are used to our mother, but that also not that easy. So that's why we have to cultivate, our present mother and kindness. And then you feel very strong connect to in this present mother. And then we meditate, other also used to our mother. So then your love, compassion, thinking about all sentient beings become growing. So in this case, this section is called cultivate, meditate. We have to think about. So when we was born, we rely on everything is our parents. So even we grow up, right now we think we are independent, but actually we are not independent. So everything is rely on other beings, other people. Without others, we cannot survive. In the worldly, we cannot survive ourselves without other people, other beings help us. So then that's we have to recognize, how important other beings. The worldly, we cannot survive without other beings. We are not independent. So we rely on everything for others. But then go to the spiritual path, enlightenment, everything is rely on for other beings. Without other beings, we cannot enlightenment. So why we cannot enlightenment? Because enlightenment causes six perfection practice, six paramita practice. So without others, we cannot practice jnanarasti. Jnanarasti is rely on others. So if we don't have practice jnanarasti, then we are always ordinary, because self and I. Jnanarasti helps create accumulation merit and reduce our self-grasping. So enlightenment, very important cause is jnanarasti. Jnanarasti is rely on other beings. So this bodhisattvas seeing other ordinary beings and enlightened beings equal. Because enlightenment is come from both, not only Buddhas, not only ordinary beings. So enlightenment, we have to practice the six perfection. First, jnanarasti, rely on others. Then practice morality. Object is not a Buddha, right? Morality practice, object is other beings. So morality means, we stop through the body, speech, mind, harming for other beings. So very hard to, we're going to harm to Buddha and Bodhisattvas. They always dare to us, right? And not easy to, object of morality, the Bodhisattva and the Buddhas. Object of morality is always other beings. So then go to the practice patient. Patient practice object is 100% also other beings, especially ordinary beings. We cannot practice patient with Buddhas. We cannot practice patient with Bodhisattvas. And practice patient object must be like our enemies, like most important treasure ones is enemies, not also our loved ones. So that's why, this ordinary other beings truly liberating us. So long as we, have mind for and knows how to use this, practice with ordinary people, and all this enlightening causes, sources come from ordinary people, I think. Right, you think so? Because without them, we cannot see this generosity practice. Without them, we cannot practice morality. Without them, we cannot practice patience. So this three is most important for, especially for lay practitioners. So Buddha shared 6 parameters. He said first 3 is for lay practitioner. Last 3 is more focused for the monastics. So first 3 is 100% rely on the other beings. And then go to joyful effort. Practice is rely on both other sentient beings and Buddha, joyful effort. Because we, have Sangha together, then the practice together bring you joyful effort. So also like, you go to the school, you're going to learn your education, not only up to the teacher, is with like your student classmate together and helping each other. And also sometimes competition each other, put more effort. So you cannot competition with a teacher, right? So you competition with the students, the same, like Sangha practitioner, meditators also, copy each other and log to each other. Okay, I want to be same as him, like he, and you put more effort, practice. The effort also come from helping from others. And then go to meditation. Meditation also many congregation rely on others. So rest in mind is up to us, but many congregation for everything rely on others. Meditation practice. If you are only yourself, you cannot meditate because you rely on your food, clothes, and your survival. It's so hard to become your life. Meditation practices always rely on others. Then wisdom, have to recognize how important the other beings. So you recognize, then you care about them are very precious. So without wisdom, we don't recognize others are important. So all these 6 parameters. Object is other sentient beings. So then especially enemies, hatred ones, object of attachment, object of anger, object of jealousy, object of pride. So this object, others truly liberating us. if you use this teaching and practice, if we don't use this teaching and practice, then this object is negative. Of course, attachment object is negative, right? Anger object is negative. Jealousy, pride, ignoring object or is negative. But long as you use this practice, Bodhisattva's practice, this mind training, all this negative objects become precious. Same is wish fulfilling giver. So very powerful. That's why, Bodhisattva has different than our ordinary. And in the Chandrakirti, he talked about the generosity, morality, participation, all these different chapters. His middleware teaching. So he mentioned about the generosity. The Bodhisattvas, the generosity is very happy and joy. They bring the most joyful for them. How they get joy for, someone, the Bodhisattvas even hearing someone ask something help. The voice that come to their ear and become really pleasant and feel absolutely joy and happy. So ordinary people, they hear like someone asked to help is like try to close the air, not that pleasant. So the difference, right? And the Bodhisattvas become really joyful. Then morality, patience, this all has like different than ordinary, they because you use this bodhicitta. And who has this bodhicitta, then everything is become negative things treasure for them. So for ordinary beings, all is negative, but bodhisattvas, everything has become treasure. So that's the power of this bodhicitta. And then many this, bodhisattva, these teachers who has practiced bodhicitta, the teachers usually share. Even you hear the bodhicitta has very powerful. The words, even you hearing, and the words hearing is powerful, and you get very strong connection to the spiritual enlightening cause, conditions. So the point is like bodhicitta benefit in this life, bodhicitta benefit in the pardo and the future life. The bodhicitta is the true protection for us. So that's why here says, by thinking of all sentient beings, even you think about all sentient beings as more precious than a wish fulfilling giver. Wish fulfilling giver only fears your desires, only can be benefit in this life. The wish fulfilling giver benefit, you cannot take future life, and the wish fulfilling giver never going to take you to the enlightenment. You can be really powerful in this life, but that also impermanent. When we die, it's going to lost. So this bodhicitta practice never going to lost. It's take to the enlightenment. That's why more precious the wish fulfilling giver. So then, for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them there. So for accomplishing the highest aim means like I want benefit, wanted to help other beings. So that is the very high level accomplishing the highest aim. And then in this first verses is bodhicitta practice. So you have to know the bodhicitta, compassion, love is different. Do you know difference or you don't know much? Do you know difference, bodhicitta, love, compassion?
Bodhicitta is aspiring for everybody to liberate.
Okay. Bodhicitta is what do you say?
Aspiring. So
Aspiring. Wanted to liberate others. Then compassion means taking the suffering others.
Suffering out of their life.
Which free from suffering. Okay, wishing free from suffering. What do you say, Virginia? Wishing like have happiness. Okay, so wishing happiness is a kind of love. Wishing everyone has a happiness is a love. Wishing free from suffering is a compassion. You know, intention wanted to liberate every single being. That's why I wanted to engage in listening this teaching, cultivate, meditate, practice. That intention is called bodhicitta. So that, you know, intention is the precious. So long as you have that intention is called for accomplish the highest aim. I will always hold them there, means like I always think about others. You know, whatever situation, I always take care of other beings. So wanted to help them, benefit them. So that is called bodhicitta there. And that's Buddha Shakyamuni has. So Buddha Shakyamuni, we are same ordinary first state. So then Buddha always carry this intention for others. Practice this one. And we are follow opposite of this, other samsaric beings. So that's why we know where is the samsara is come from. Opposite of this intention is called, you know, causes of samsara, right? Created by samsara. This intention, this practice is create enlightenment. This is the causes of enlightenment. So that's why all the Buddha's source is bodhicitta, and all the Buddha's embodiment of bodhicitta. So without these intentions, no one has become enlightened. Without this intention, cannot benefit others. So that's why it's called precious, you know, wish fulfilling give a precious mind. And then without this practice yadam deity also no benefits. Actually, high level tantra practice without this cultivation bodhicitta, you cannot practice. Must require, you know, always require this bodhicitta practice first. Yadam deity, because yadam deity is form body of bodhicitta. So we don't practice bodhicitta, go to directly to yadam deity, then the person, you know, practitioner, meditator can be have wrong view. Then also intention not strong enough, the practice yadam deity also less benefit, not that powerful. That's why bodhicitta is always called precious means. Do you get? Okay, so most important one, I will always hold them there. Means we don't have this, we cannot right now have this practice, but even you think about in your mind, you know, each moment a little bit, also very powerful. So dealing with the people, use this is very hard for ordinary people. Not that easy, right? But we have to practice through the meditation first. So dealing with the people, you cannot get the goal, this bodhicitta, because you can be lose your intention, bodhicitta, you start more suffering. That's why, you know, the good is like you mentally practice. It's mind training, you know. We have to training ourselves mind. Long as you have this mind training, then you dealing with the people, it's not hard, very easy become. That's why we have to get training first ourselves. You know, use this method, cultivate every single day, think about, you know, these verses and read. And sometimes also you, I mean, like you dealing with the situation in some sort of word really, you have this word in your mind, really, really helpful, very powerful. You know, you don't stuck with other people create like negative causes together. Long as you have this, you know, intention in these verses come to your mind, is this protect you from suffering. So then, long as you have this practice in your mind, you can have others too. So that's why this is our true protection, bodhicitta is. And then each verses has different aspects or, you know, anger to dealing with others. So this first one is more generally, you can dealing with all the sentient beings. Then, you know, go to other verses, looks like, you know, more specifically, you can dealing with the situations. Many negative things you can take to the path. Long as you have this, you know, teaching and the practice, if you keep your mind, sometimes you can be temporarily can be lost in the worldly way, but truly you are winner. You know, that's always happening. Temporarily winner ones is actually truly loser. You know, it's that create so much negative, like temporarily loser was is great happening, you know, big changed. Because we always stuck with like temporary pleasant winner. So strong desire that. And the bodhisattvas see the clearly temporary winner is not that benefit there. You give up that more benefit. You know, you give up that you have more happiness come from. So that's we don't recognize because due to our, you know, this ignorance. We don't recognize temporary something is so important for us. So you can see that sometimes the bugs also fighting, bees also fighting. All these small, you know, bugs, bees, and animals fighting the territory, the grasping fixation. So you really look there, it's nothing actually they get something meaningful, even the winner, right? So, you know, the bodhisattvas, Buddhas seeing us the same is like same as the bugs fighting. You know, dogs fighting. So you know, the not really there's anything pleasure and happiness there, but it's due to our, you know, ignorance. We don't recognize that, and you can see like many bugs fighting all in, you know, the and different kind of, you know, bugs, beings, small things. They're fighting a lot all the time because they have so strong fixation attachment. But for us to see there is nothing their benefit. Then who has a mental problem? You know, we have many homeless. The people has, you know, carry always garbage things. They lose their garbage is so important for them. You know, that treasure for them. For we see there is nothing, anything, their essence. So similar, like high level practitioner who has this bodhicitta, their seeing is totally different than us. So the main point is bodhicitta is a source of wisdom. Who has bodhicitta, their wisdom arise. So then we really know what is right, what is wrong. So that's why, temporary, for us, like who has ignorance, important ones, the bodhisattva's seeing is nothing important. That's why they can give up. They don't fight for the, no meaningful, no benefit anything. They don't fight, right? The true benefit, the true happiness come from bodhicitta. And that's why they use that. They practice this. So that's we have to know and think, just like sometimes read all these bodhisattvas like history, biography, and that really helps then recognize. Okay, so that's the first verses. Then second verses. Hard verses is generally. So do you have any question there? It's okay, everyone? Hearing the teaching is not that difficult, but practice is always hard. That's why you have to maintain first. Cultivate. Yes.
Yeah, but we were talking the other day about how on the relative level.
Relative level for what?
Maybe this is going to apply more to verses 5 and 6, my personal favorite verses. But that on the relative level, if you always allow defeat, or if you always allow, if you give up the fight, if one of the bee colonies, some of the bees just give up, they might be without a home. And in the context of protecting the Dharma, it becomes problematic. So we're talking on more the inner level, but also on the relative level, we need to fight sometimes as well, right?
Yes. So relative level, you mean have to sometimes for fight for protecting ourselves, you mean?
For example, Garchen took up a gun when the Chinese invaded Tibet.
Yes.
And if we don't defend the Dharma, it will easily be destroyed. You talked about yesterday, if we don't take care of the stupa, easily those negative forces can come in.
Okay. So that's the bodhisattvas know, so which is right, what is the wrong way to do. Yeah. So comes more, I think, more teaching that part. Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Virginia, yes.
So what about very evil people, like aggressors of children, sexual aggressors? How do you suggest or recommend that we hold them always in the highest aim and see them as precious?
So you like they're harming for others, we don't see their pressures. They harm to you, then you recognize they are precious, because you can practice patience, right? So if they destroy others' happiness, then the bodhisattvas, they don't see they are, treasure. And they come to you, harming you, so you use this bodhicitta, it's become the objects, you use that treasure, right? Just different become thinking.
In this case, when you're saying that when you are the victim,
Yes.
you allow this person to victimize you, to harm you, and then by doing that, you believe that person is a jewel for you, is a precious one.
If I have this bodhicitta, I cannot be victim, because I am always winner. If I have this practice bodhicitta,
Yes.
always winner, never can be victim.
I understand, but in the relative
Because
level,
bodhicitta practice is like, is protector, right? Protection.
yes.
So thinking about like, okay, someone going to harm some others. That person is a victim because they don't have this protector. They don't have bodhicitta, then they can be victim. Who has bodhicitta, they cannot be victim.
However, when we're talking about a little child,
Yes.
it's completely defenseless. They cannot defend themselves.
Yeah, but they don't have a bodhicitta, they cannot define themselves. So we are ordinary people, the same as a child. They cannot define themselves without bodhicitta. So this is teaching you true martial arts. Okay. So you know how to protect yourself. So usually you get training like, okay, someone going to, harm you or, physically, right? And how to say attack you. So you create like something, protect yourself. You maybe learn the martial arts, right? Yes. Kung Fu, martial arts, like, you protect yourself. Then you think I cannot be victim because I can subdue this other, enemies. But this is our thing about our ordinary mental thinking. The Bodhisattvas, this bodhicitta is the true martial arts, true Kung Fu. Okay? You can subdue the others using this practice. They cannot be victim.
So if one of these children had bodhicitta, they wouldn't be a victim in this.
That's okay.
So we are same as the children. We think we cannot be victim because I'm either I can defending myself, right? But actually, we cannot defend ourselves. Defending means you don't get anger, you don't get emotion, then truly defend yourself. Long as you have anger, emotion, you're not defending yourself. Physically, you defend yourself, truly you'll get hurt. Also more wars, samsara, create more suffering. So that's why, we thinking idea and this bodhicitta protection is different. This defending future life, taking care true permanence, happiness. So protecting from this emotion. Yes.
So just so that I understood properly, so when someone else like aggresses someone else, all I can do is have compassion. But when someone aggresses me,
yes,
then I can arise bodhicitta, protect myself. Is this correct? Like some attack,
that's
attack
it.
one person to another person, I can just have compassion, but attack me, I can generate wisdom by using it to generate paramitas.
Yeah, so this physically you're defending yourself, right? That is we didn't say you cannot have that. You can defend yourself physically.
Or someone else.
Someone else, yes. But the point is, as long as bodhicitta you have, you don't stuck with the emotion. You don't create negative karma. You transform a negative karma. You take that energy is positive. You can defend yourself, of course, you can defend others too, but without emotions. Without emotion, you want to help the others, the person. They don't create negative karma. You protect yourself, you protect the enemies too. Truly protecting each other, That's the Bodhisattva's method, I think. Do you get?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now we go to the second verses then. Whenever I'm in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among, and from the depths of my heart, cherish others as supreme. So this one is reduce our ego. You know, you don't always need to think I am the lowest, right? So that's also you misunderstand, I think. So the point is when you be with others, companies must be humble. The point is don't show the ego. If you show the ego, no one like you. So then you just create yourself suffering, others not happy. You create yourself unhappy. And as long as you show the ego, then you don't receive any spiritual qualities. All the spiritual qualities you blocked, because ego is the very strong negativity, like block all the spiritual door. You don't have open mind. Long as you have ego, then you don't have devotion. You don't have compassion. You don't have love. So ego, then thinking about I am the best. I can do everything. I don't rely on others. So always think about me and I. So then that's block all the spiritual door. And you don't get any good qualities yourself. So that's why, when we be with other people, group, sangha, then always watch them, use the mind we have to watch our own mind. The company of others together, right? I will regard myself as the lowest among, means like always be most humble and always look to how can I help these people, how to do this something good things for others. Not think about I am the best. I am good, I don't need to rely on you guys. I don't care. So that's the become mistake. Yeah. Do you think so? So that's why if when you go to with other people, then this is very important. Mindful. Without mindful, then we always hurt others, can hurt others. We not knowingly hurt others. So that's why this means like you really be with others mindfully, awareness. And not I am the first, right? So just be frank, like nicely, caring each other, look to what I really need to help others, and what I don't do good things with others. So have to recognize. Sometimes we don't recognize mindfully, we don't know, but people are happy with the companies, right? So that means not their problem. The problem is because we don't have mindful, we don't recognize and due to our egos. So that's why when we be with other people, go group together and go to pilgrimage, right? Get the transportation together. And we have to always remind these words. It's really helpful. So otherwise, the self is always like first, like try to get always I am the first. And you come to these verses, then in the mind, it's different. You can right away change yourself. So this bring, our companies become happy each other. Can bring sangha is, become harmony and joyful together. Very happy each other. So without this practice, then always get something problem each other, they hurt each other, no happy each other, because it comes from this ego and no mindful. So that's why we have to, this is for our journey, and be with the Sangha, be with the public. So already, so this remind very important, I think. Do you think so? Yeah. So whatever we do, like, okay, and I'm doing right or not wrong, like we have to always, make sure it's okay, goes good, correct. So I'm in the company of other. I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depth of my heart. So can be misunderstood. Then sometimes this low, directly you take these words is like myself as the lowest among means like then we push down ourselves, no courage ourselves, do something. Then I'm the lowest means like you lose your positive courage. Bodhisattvas no lose positive courages. They have more courage, I can help others, and without ego, the looking different angle to benefit others. So that's this practice bring us, really joyful bring and become happy each other. Yes.
Normally we say that we have to regard all beings as equal. How do you compare this to now?
All beings equal is this is different situations.
Okay.
Equal, and this one Bodhisattvas people put always first, means relatively you put always first, right?
Okay.
And you meditate like every sentient being is equal. And when you do the actions, practice go together. So use this one is really good. But it's not easy to practice, right? You think so, or very easy, this one? It's difficult because you go together with others, group together, whatever you journey together, it's not that easy.
Sometimes putting someone first isn't aligned with bodhicitta intention. If they're going to handle the position you give them irresponsibly.
Yeah. So the thing then means like if you put other first, then they'll get more pride.
Either pride or
Yeah.
selfishness.
So then that push you down, right? Push everyone down, yeah. So that's Bodhisattvas always has wisdom, and they're not added compassion, right? Added compassion. What do you say like yesterday we talked to added or like something foolish compassion? Idiot compassion. So no added compassion. And they know like how to dealing with it, bring joy for each other. So that's this practice. So then we go to the next one. So this one is in my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotion arise, I will confront them strongly and evade them, since they will hurt both me and others. So this, the verses, of course, like always we use our protection mind for guide. So we have to watch all the time our body, speech, and mind. So we recognize, I think, body speech is easy than mind, but mind is very hard to recognize because always comes negative thoughts. not easy to stop that. Body harming for others is you can control easy in your mind. Speech also you can see and you can control, but mind is always the hardest one. So that's why in my every action, whatever we using the intention, mind, and the body, speech, so we have to watch ourselves. Something going to create my benefits or really benefit others. It is dharma or not dharma. We have to recognize. So I will watch my mind and the moment. So if you watch your mind each moment, then destructive emotions arise, you recognize. If we don't watch our own mind, then emotion arise, we don't recognize. If we don't recognize emotion arise, then what is problem? Then emotion is the causes of suffering. So emotion is true our enemy. Not true enemy is the physical person. So that's why, long as you have this mindful, you watch your mind, recognize your emotions, then we truly control our enemies. Because emotion is true enemy is emotion take us to the harems. Harem suffering, emotion bring us, anger can bring us. Not the personal enemy can bring us harem. So anger is enemy because create harem suffering. Emotion is our true enemy. Hungry gods, karma is emotion create. So animal realm also emotion create. So that's why we don't want to take birth into the lower realms. So this all lower realm is ignorance, anger, attachment. So projecting, right? Perception. So this three poison create three lower realms. So that's the reason this three our emotion, these three of them is true our enemy. Then plus of course jealousy. Jealousy is causes of anger. Jealousy. Pride is like causes of attachment. So then ignorance. So this emotion is the true enemy, and we going to get suffering many lifetimes. So that's why we have to recognize emotion arising. So we can recognize easily physical person enemy comes, right? But emotion arise, we don't recognize. Physical enemies only take one laugh. That's the for us very difficult, but Bodhisattvas, for them is not that big deal. that thing is okay, only take that one life. But emotion carry us many eons, lifetimes in suffering. So that's why the big difference. The Bodhisattvas who has wisdom, seeing, and our ordinary thinking is totally different. So that's why, the Bodhisattvas recognize, practitioners recognize the emotion is the true enemy that bring us many lifetimes of suffering. And this life, physical enemies only can bring suffering, maybe one life can be like one day, month. So it's very temporary comparing to emotion enemy is comparing to physical real person enemy. Real person physical enemy only bring temporary suffering, but not permanent suffering. That can be help us liberate if you practice patience. So the emotion destroy us many lifetimes. So that's the reason, destructive emotion arise. We have to recognize. I will confront them strongly and avert them. So right way, they stop the emotions, negative thoughts. I don't remember exactly. I think this one is Geshe Lari Tangpa who created this verses of mind training, or maybe his teacher. I don't remember exactly. The one teacher, practice mindful. He used the 100 white stone and 100 black stones together. And then he practiced, like when he has a negative intention, thoughts comes, put the black stone. And when he has positive thoughts comes, it's use the white one. And so first days and more number is black. So until he practice like no more any black stones. It's 100% white. So he achieved that mind for this training. Takes like monthly, practice. So if you count yourself, you use two malas. One is crystal mala, one is another mala, When negative thoughts comes and use other mala, when positive thoughts comes, crystal mala, count is couple months, you cannot get that much in the crystal mala numbers. Other or mala is, you can get thousands every day. So that's the, we have ordinary people has this negative thoughts always arise very easy. Then negative thoughts arise, we don't recognize. No recognize, and then negative thoughts controlled. So we are stuck there, negative emotion trapped. And sometimes like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes hour, sometimes whole day, whole day is not pleasant. That kind of always happening for us. So this bodhisattva's negative thoughts, emotion comes right away recognize. The negative emotion that don't control. See, in this practitioner also have a negative thoughts, but they can count means they recognize right away. If long as you have ability to count your negative thoughts, you are a good practitioner. Do you think so? So we don't have that ability, I think, count the negative thoughts. Because negative thoughts comes like sometimes control like 10, 20 minutes, hour. So you forget to count. So counting means it's really good already. You recognize right away. You apply antidote, mindful awareness, and you apply love and compassion. So you can apply many other practice. So this negative thoughts are not easy to stop. Even you are practice dharma, but still it's arising all the time. Even you read like compassion practice. During that moment, also negative thoughts arise. You meditate bodhicitta, still this negative thoughts is arising during that moment. Then of course generally all the time arise. Do you think so or no? Yeah.
Maybe I don't recognize.
No recognize. So
But I can see when I sometimes.
so recognize is really good. Then there's a negative emotion, there are many different kind of negative emotions. Some is very hard to recognize. Some is easy to recognize. So usually there's a pride is very hard to recognize, pride and ego is. So anger is more easy to recognize. Ignorance is hardest remove, you know. And anger is a very strong negativity, but easy to recognize. Ignorance is then very hard to remove. Pride is hard to recognize. So that kind of each negativity has also different negativity again there. What is your question?
Not a question, but it's an interesting comment.
Hmm.
Also, something he says is that some of the Mara demons are when you do, I don't know, refuge ceremony, and you have a voice in your head saying, wow, so beautiful, the Lama gives you refuge, and now you have refuge in the three jewels. That thought that is like positive is also pride, it's also a demon. Like we should just receive without thought. Because when we attach a thought, even if it's good, like, oh, look at me, I'm doing so much spiritual things, it's also ignorant.
So that's it's really depending the practitioner's level. The beginners never have any spiritual before. So you take refuge, you're thinking about, oh, I'm taking refuge. So then what do you say, another words?
Like, this is so good.
Oh, this is so good.
Like, this must be so good, better than being in the bar.
Okay, better than, be others place, right?
Yes.
I'm really good, I'm be here.
Yes.
So that's
so good that I'm
so that is good for the beginner. If someone didn't have a dharma, and then that is a positive, absolutely positive, 100%. But practitioner, you are good practitioner, then that is incorrect again. So it's depending levels,
Like outer is
So you're reading the book is called like cutting materialism, spiritual means that is not the for like samsaric ordinary beings. This is for practitioners. They cannot attach to that, even positive. Yeah, so it's different levels there has. And first level, that is positive. Then you're gaining more higher level practitioner, then you cannot attach to even spiritual, materialism.
However, there is this word that we can use. Maybe it's certainty. This is not being proud. I remember I asked you yesterday about Vajra proud.
Yes.
And this is not about being proud. This is about being certain.
Certainty, yeah, confident.
And confident.
Yes, true confident. Yeah.
And we are certain that we have expression for life.
Yes.
And this is not proud.
Yes.
Even we call Vajra proud, it's a certainty, right?
Yeah. So today we are in the Enlightenment Stupa, in front of Enlightenment Stupa. So we have to think about, how I'm lucky here, and good weather, good conditions, very strong supports object here. So there's always a positive for us. So you become really good practitioner, then still you attach to this, positive object, then that is incorrect. You have to go more beyond in that. So that's why, like when you read a book and they mention about the things, like you have to know like which level this is talking about. Teaching always has like basic practitioners like guide, and then meditator practitioners a guide, very high level practitioners a guide, the different levels. So that's why we have a auto level teaching, inner level teaching, secret level teachings, and also see basic teaching, Theravada tradition, Mahayana tradition, Vajrayana tradition, or the different levels. So these teachings, if you read all these three together, is if only one person thinking about it is contradict each other. But you think about the three people there, then it's not contradicting. Because three different ability, different persons. So that's why, you know, we also go to school, like you have a kindergarten, high school, university, like different levels. So the teaching also follow the different ways, like, you know, sharing. And we have to know the teachings, like talking about which level. That's very important. Then, you know, here, the point is, we have to recognize our emotion. Here, that is very important. We have to use watch my mind, means like mind training is always watch the crazy mind. The mind bring the samsara. Our mind bring the nirvana. This our mind created samsara, our mind created nirvana, right? So if you don't guide your mind, we don't watch our own mind, mind creates samsara. If you watch your own mind, you guide your mind, you training your mind, mind bring the nirvana. So that's why mind creates samsara and the nirvana. Our own mind creates our own samsara and nirvana. So that's why, you know, if we don't watch our own mind, no recognize, always create samsara. Then that is a like longer goal. Think about the many, you know, like life, long way, think about like samsara and nirvana. But actually every single day, every hour, every minute, you can guide your mind, you can take to the nirvana, you can take your mind, take you to samsara. You know, when emotion comes, you don't recognize, the mind take you to samsara. You recognize, you liberate your emotional thoughts. That moment, the mind take you to the nirvana. So that nirvana, we have to create more strong and strong. Right now, our problem is samsara is 99% strong. We have nirvana only 1%. Okay, 99% totally, you know. So now we can change it to that, you know. If you can do like 80% nirvana, I mean like 20% nirvana one day, 80% samsara, then you are more joyful person in samsara. So if you are 50-50, then we have become practitioner. Yeah. So Kong, you know, like negative intention is 50% and positive, like, you know, you liberate the negative 50%, you can liberate, we are become practitioner. It's very high level then, you know, practitioner, not just regular practitioner. So long as you have 50%, then the Buddha hold enlightenment in within your hand, means like very close. See, it's there. So that's why I share you many times, the positive is very strong than negative actually. You know, another way, because you have this positive 50% is become very high level practitioner. Very easily you can get rid of 50% negativity. So right now we have a 90% negativity. Only one person could have positive. That's why it's still we can survive in samsara. It's a good thing, you know. Okay. So we can breathe, we can enjoy, you know, even we have one person protection. So you create 20% bodhicitta and then it's great already. That's why we have here is I will confront them strongly and ever them, since they were hurt both me and others. So negative emotion arises, then hurt both ourselves and hurt others. So we are, you know, going to the lower realms, we digging others also lower realms too. So that's why samsaric beings, and always we do that due to ignorance. And ignorance then have a strong desire, self-grasping, then jealousy, anger, all this comes, so create suffering each other, you know. That's the, all is this is samsara based on, we recognize, because during Buddha Shakyamuni teaching until no, it's the same thing, same problem in the world. That's why he said defect of samsara. Samsara is suffering. And so that's good for, you know, mind training, mindful meditating, always practice, watch our mind. So that's the third verses. So now we going to leave it there. These verses are going to continue tomorrow, and now go back to this Chenrezig sadhana. So we don't have our ability to, you know, subdue emotions. That's why we need the support. Is Chenrezig. All the enlightened beings embodiment bodhicitta is Chenrezig. So, you know, meditate and practice Chenrezig helps arising more compassion in our mind. So now we are in the page 3, I think page 3. So the first, this we chant the beginning teaching, we chant this prayer is called generation stages. You know, we visualize the Chenrezig. And visualize the Chenrezig is like, goes directly self-generation meditation. Self-generation is like we, you know, visualize all this where we are right now, the places, visualize the Chenrezig's pure line. And then we visualize the Chenrezig's, you know, palace is called Potala. And then in center of the palace, we visualize the lotus. Then lotus top is visualize the moon seeds. Then I appear in the form of noble Avalokiteshvara, means, you know, we top of the lotus and the moon, top of the moon, we visualize ourselves as a Chenrezig. Then Chenrezig is a white color, you know, with one face. He has 4 arms and 2 legs. So this 4 arm is representative for measurable, immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity. So then the first 2 hands are joined at my heart, and the lower 2 hold the crystal rosary and a white lotus. So this 4 hands is representative of all this enlightened love, compassion, bodhicitta qualities, representative. So Chenrezig hold 2 hearts. It's a heart center, you know, is holding the wish fulfilling giver. So wish fulfilling giver is a good intention, bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is the same as wish fulfilling giver. And then he hold another, you know, crystal rosary is mala. So liberating other beings, benefit other beings. White lotus is, you know, Chenrezig emanations take birth to lower realms, samsara everywhere, different kind of form bodies, but even their take emanations birth to lower realms, samsara, these emanations free from the emotions, defilements. So then that's the, you know, the Chenrezig form bodies symbolize meaning. Then we visualize the Chenrezig form is pure and not ordinary, you know, it's called Yadam deity form. So that's why he has this all the different ornaments and the Versek and the Jiva ornament and my seat to the leg are crossed. Then his top of his head has Buddha Amitabha. So the reason is Chenrezig is Buddha Amitabha's emanation. So Buddha Amitabha is Sambhonakaya. Sorry, Buddha Amitabha is Dharmakaya. So then Dharmakaya effort to form benefit other is Sambhonakaya forms the Chenrezig in the Taras. So then all around our Buddha Bodhisattva high like clouds, we visualize many Buddha Bodhisattvas. Then from the Om Hong at my three center stream or the rest of light. So we visualize Om Hong, our body, you know, forehead is and the throat. So the forehead is Om, throat is and the heart center is Hong. Like that is, and inverting wisdom Chenrezig. So then the all wisdom Chenrezig is dissolved to Samaya Chenrezig. So called we are Samaya Chenrezig. Because we visualize our forms Chenrezig means we are Samaya Chenrezig. And on Hong like that is inverting many Chenrezig, Buddha and Bodhisattvas dissolved to us. So the inverting dissolve is called wisdom Chenrezig is dissolved to us. In the center of my heart is lotus and the moon sits. So that's the inverting and the Chenrezig dissolved to us. And then same time we have to chant the mantra. So this is called mantra garling. And we visualize and our heart center is so moon this and then top there first syllable. Surround the mantra garling from it means like Om Mani Padme Hum is rotating, you know, in our heart center. So clockwise. Then this leg stream out makes offering to the noble ones means like all this mantra garling like that is offering to the enlightened beings, create accumulation merit. Then so also the receiving the blessings from the enlightened beings. When you receive the blessings from enlightened beings, is we visualize ourselves as Chenrezig. At the same time, we visualize many Buddha enlightened beings. So offering to the mantra enlightened beings, then blessing comes to same as rain falling. So to our body, you know. So all the blessings dissolve to our body and become you feel joy and happy. And then also blessing dissolve to your mantra garling in the heart center. So become your mantra garling has more power. All the Buddha's blessing quality in your mantra has. So then you can, the like that is go to 6 realms and purify others' karma and the suffering, you know, have more powerful because all the Buddha's blessing with that mantra. So that's our like stream or to make offering to noble ones and purify obscuration of all beings. Then the whole environment become the realm of Mon Potala. So then we visualize hair realms is become Chenrezig pure lane. Hungry Ghost Ram is become Chenrezig pure realm. The realm of the Potala, you know, Mon Potala means Chenrezig pure lane. All this hour right now where we are is become Chenrezig's Potala Palace and the pure lane, Chenrezig pure lane. All that appear as the form of the great compassion one. All these form bodies become meditated Chenrezig form. All the songs is become 6 mantra or Mani Padme Hum. And all thoughts of the wisdom mind of emptiness and the compassion. So then all thoughts become you recognize. Thoughts arising right away, you recognize thoughts is emptiness. So that means the thoughts is become Dharmakaya. And because you thoughts, emotions, you liberating to the emptiness. Compassion out of the genuine nature beyond grasping and or providing a recite mantra. So then chant the mantra become is we are enlightening being in transform right away in our ordinary being to the become enlightenment. So that is called generation and transforming, very powerful practice. So very hard to generate love compassion using our ordinary mind for others. That's why you meditate, Chenrezig yourself, use this practice and become more powerful. So we cannot liberate, have others use our ordinary body, speech, mind. So that's why we use this enlightening body, speech, mind together, bring together and transform our ordinary body, speech, mind, and then we have ability to benefit others. So you cannot warm up fruits grown. So use the sun and then easily, warm up the fruits and grown. So we using the, this method supports together. That's why this Yadam Deity practice means. Then chant the mantra. Is this section is called generation stage meditation practice. So generation stage practice is transforming our ordinary body, speech, mind is transformed to the enlightened body, speech, mind, and benefiting for others, benefit us ourselves, transforming. Then we have to chant the mantra. So when you're going to practice this one, always good is to go meditate first. Your mind is resting, peacefully abiding, no thoughts, and then use this generation mentally, even without the chanting mentally, use this practice is very powerful. When you have thoughts, emotions, then very hard to create this generation stage meditation practice. So that's why it's always go shamatha meditation first is perfect. Great to where to use this sadhana. Now we chant the mantra and the other part is tomorrow we're going to explain. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme hum. So dedication, casual energy, dedication prayer. Dorjen Chang, Telopa, Naropa, Marpa, Malarepa, Dharma Lord Gambopa, Pamotopa, Lord Digompa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious bless our Kaju Lamas. By this virtue may achieve omniscience, by defeating all enemies confusion. May all who travels on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, death, cross the ocean of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but even increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have a good health. I pray the Lama may have a long life. I pray that your Dharma activity separate far and wide. I pray that I may not be separate from you. As Manjushri Devero realized ultimate state, and as did Samantha, I will follow in the path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the true of unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the Mary Ashe bear fruit. by the virtue collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and may I all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed perfect, complete and precious enlightenment. May the teaching of Great Digompa Ranashiri, who is omniscient, Lord of Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue to increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of the samsara. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, translators. Thank you, Sangha.
Thank you.
Good morning, good
Thank you,
afternoon.
Kempo Nasio tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Michelle, Debbie, all the organizers.
Thank you,
感
Hanu.
恩仁波切，这是
Thank you,
谁的
Sangha.
感恩翻译，
感恩翻译师兄，阿弥陀佛。
Hi, Mexico.
谢谢大家。
Michelle.
Obrigado.
谢谢。
Obrigado.
Kempo, there is one
Thank you,
question
Kempo.
in the Zoom. Do you have time for that today, or would you like us to hold till?
I have a time question, yes.
Okay.
Hello, Rinpoche. Good afternoon or good morning. I was wondering if you could just go over the difference between the 4 immeasurables.
I'll see you. Have a good day.
I just wanted to understand that a little better.
Okay, we can try tomorrow, okay?
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yes, next. Next, no question, right?
Oh, that was it.
Okay, thank you then. Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Kempo.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye，祝谢
Thank you, everyone.
吉祥如意。
谢谢。
Hello, Ed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.